Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 6:08 Wednesday, June 15, 60 degrees. Got up to 82 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. And we are now joined in studio by an incredible morning person. I know Ryan Blumenthal from Corinne Jewelers. I know, Ryan, you're up every morning you get up around 4 usually, right?
At least 5. I have 3 kids, and they want their oatmeal and Barbie, so I'm up.
And let's be fair, you're getting that for them? I mean, that's you?
I'm supervising.
Yeah, okay.
I'm supervising.
You're making sure it all kind of works out, right?
I turn on the TV.
Good for you. So why don't you tell us a little bit, Corinne Jewelers has been a staple in the Ocean County area for a long time. Why don't you give us kind of the overview of the business?
Sure. And first of all, thanks for having me on this
Absolutely.
morning. Corinne Jewelers, family-owned, operated since 1964. My grandfather opened Corinne Jewelers. Corinne is my grandmother's name. That's where the heritage comes from there. He promised to put her name up in lights in 1964 when he married her, and ever since we've been serving the community for fine jewelry. What we're probably known for best is engagement rings and fine jewelry and custom design, all of these great things that help people celebrate big moments in their lives. I'm the third generation Blumenthal that's been in the business. Mel and Corinne were followed by my parents, Mary and Craig, that were well known in the community, still are, still around the store. But right now, my wife and I are carrying the torch into a third generation.
Right. Now, do you have, this is, I don't want to get too deep into the personal end, but do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have a sister, Tammy, who she's in the business as well, or at least she was in the business. She currently helps her husband run a few medical offices that he has.
Gotcha. So she's kind of ceded the whole thing to you at this point.
Yeah, she doesn't want to. She escaped.
Right. So that's my question. So you have 3 kids, as you said.
Yes.
Right? And so have you considered that you're going to set up an interesting? Now, will you run this as like a tryout process now over the next 20 years for the kids?
They're on a 20-year tryout.
Yeah.
I think it's all about finding what they're passionate about.
Right.
And with me, I was, I kind of fell in love with the whole retail thing and being in a store and being with the customers, and it fit. It made sense. So with my kids, I'd love them just to be around the store like I was as a kid, and hopefully they see their parents working hard, and they learn that kind of that trait as I did watching my grandparents, and I watched my parents work hard. So I hope they see that kind of stuff and see how to take care of people and create a nice experience. But whether or not they do the store when they're older, I would hope it's just about if they're passionate for that kind of thing.
Right.
And if not, then we'll obviously love
have
whatever
another child.
Yeah, I was keep having kids until somebody wants to take it over so I can retire.
Right. Well, listen. So I understand what you're saying. I have a couple thoughts on that because
Sure.
I have 3 kids myself, and we're very open about the fact that it's a tryout process to get into the family business.
Yeah.
And so. When somebody gets a B on a report card, they've fallen behind in the race. But it's an interesting point you bring up, though, because I remember, my grandfather had a shoe store in downtown Toms River, Phillips Shoes. And when I grew up, my parents were always working 1 million hours a week as attorneys. And that wasn't exactly the business that you bring your kid to.
Yep.
So I hung out at the shoe store a lot. And down the road ended up with a 20-year career basically in retail.
Yeah.
And so it is something that kind of gets into your blood a little bit, right?
Yeah, you get the excitement of it. Every day you're with new people and you have what you need to get done that day, and there's kind of immediate satisfaction from it, and you do get addicted to the juice of it. But yeah, so I hung around the store as a kid and got to watch my parents do what they did, and I think it's a good way to grow up when you have a family that's surrounded by small business. There's a lot of hours that are worked, but at the same time, I had a great example of, if you worked hard, then you could be successful.
Sure.
But it's not going to come without that hard work.
Right.
And yeah.
So now you guys have just in the last couple of years undergone a tremendous renovation. So why don't you? What was the impetus for that? It's the store is beautiful. For me it's bad because every time I walk in I feel like I have to buy something. And it's
all right, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah, no, it's well. So talk to me. How did that come about? What was the reasoning?
Well, a few things. One is we've been fortunate enough to grow our business year after year, and in retail, as you grow, the need for more space in a business like ours is just a natural thing. We are selling more jewelry, we need more jewelry, and we need more place for that jewelry, and so the growth of the actual space is just kind of that natural thing that comes along with the growth of your business. And then the other thing is I just feel in retail or in business in general, you need to be constantly changing and reinventing yourself and creating a new level of excitement and engagement for your customers. So it's always been the case that if you look past, every 15 years or so, Corinne Jewelers has probably done at least a little bit of a renovation in their store. And it'll probably always be that way. Hopefully we have another 10 years before we have to reinvent ourselves again in our space.
Right.
But that was really the goal of it, to expand, to offer new things to our customers and offer a better experience.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, you really, you guys have seemed to embrace that new, and I want to say kind of a new strategy around building a feeling when you walk into a store, which is, you got coffee going on there, get this whole thing. Like, it's like you should feel comfortable to be able to spend the next 3 hours of your life in the store if you really, if that's kind of what needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know that jewelry stores are intimidating, and they're especially intimidating for guys. And so when I designed the store, my goal was to try to at least, with everything that we do, create a welcoming atmosphere for our guests. And we want to fight that intimidation and let them feel comfortable when they walk in the door. They're greeted by a wonderful sales associate that's there to help them. They see me as the owner in the store to make sure that they're having a great experience. And that really came along the whole time as we were designing the store.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool. So we're up against a break. Time flies here, doesn't it? See?
It does.
It's amazing.
You're having fun.
I know, right? So thanks for saying that. So when we come back, Ryan, I want to talk a little bit about how you guys are giving back in the community, because you've really, Corinne Jewelers, your family have been kind of huge contributors to everything that's happening in the growth of Toms River, and I'd love to talk about that and how you give back on a regular basis, and where you kind of see things moving as we move forward here in at the next stage of the growth of Toms River and Ocean County. Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers, back after this.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. We're here with Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers. If you haven't been to Corinne Jewelers, first of all, if you're a guy and you haven't been to Corinne Jewelers, then I assume you're single. If you're a woman and you haven't been to Corinne Jewelers, you need to talk to your husband/boyfriend, because I don't know what's going on there. That's a mistake. Zach, I'm not going to put you on the spot, because I've already put you on the spot once today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
yes.
I'm going to leave you alone. I'm not going to ask if you've been to Corinne Jewelers with your girlfriend of 5 years now, but I'm sure you will be. If you haven't been, I'm going to assume that that's going to happen, so I'm going to move right along.
Of course.
So Ryan, why don't you tell us? I know that you, I think one of probably the first place I met you was at the American Cancer Society, which you've always been very active with, but. Why don't you tell us about some of the ways that you guys give back in the community? Because I know it's a list much longer than even I'm aware of.
Yeah, the American Cancer Society has always just been a cause, obviously, dear to our family, and every family is affected by it. And I've had my father who's had cancer, my mom. I have several family members. Fortunate enough to say that most of my family's been able to have treatment and survive, and then others not so lucky. So it's just something that's touches our family, but as you look out to your community, you can see how much it touches every family. So we've always been very passionate about that, about supporting it, and myself being on the gala committee, where one of the biggest fundraisers of the year. We donate a $7,000 Hearts on Fire necklace every year, and anything we could do to help our community. It's always been taught to me that you support the community that you have a business in, that you live in, that if you're successful in business, that you really have a mandate to help your community, that they've supported you and you should support them, and it goes hand in hand. And it just that kind of thinking just was passed down in my family from generation to generation. Right. So along with that, our local hospital, we love to support and make sure that our residents are getting the best care. Just like you, Jeremy, we want people to feel like they don't need to go out of town to get great care. And this is such a large community. We want to make sure that we have the best resources for everyone here. But the list is long, but the net of it is that at Corinne Jewelers, you could always expect somebody that will support you in this community if you're doing great things for it and supporting everybody that lives here. Yeah,
that's cool. And so I didn't know that you were a survivor yourself.
Last summer I was diagnosed with melanoma cancer in my fingernail bed. Believe it or not,
really,
in my thumb. Yeah, very rare form of cancer. That melanoma, as you probably know, is the kind of skin cancer that is all serious, but melanoma is the kind that can travel through the rest of your body,
Sure.
So you have to be very careful with it. And I wound up having the tip of my thumb amputated because of it. And thankfully, it was a early stage cancer, stage 1 cancer, and didn't have to follow up with any chemotherapy or radiation. And I'm cancer free. And unfortunately, I have to be pale and stay out of the sun as much as possible,
right.
which is like torture at the Jersey Shore.
Right.
But that's that's a small price to pay.
And your hitchhiking career is really taking a dive.
It's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah, but other than that, well, that I had no idea, and congratulations on getting through that, and it's so impactful when you go, especially to an American Cancer Society event, and they do that moment where they say, can everybody who's been either dealt themselves or with a close family member please stand up,
and everybody
in
hand.
the room, like 350 plus people stand up and say that's me.
It blows me away every time.
Unbelievable. So when we come back, Ryan, we're going to talk about kind of what your vision is for the growth of Toms River and Ocean County. We're going to hand you the Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin magic wand. We're going to give you a couple of minutes to do some Corinne Jewelers propaganda to get people out there to shop. And we're going to do that after the news. Is that okay?
Great.
Cool. Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers, Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, back after this.
The news is next. Live from the WOBM Newsroom, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. It is 6:32 a.m. Wednesday, June 15th, 60 degrees. Getting up to 82 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pop app and WOBMAM.com. 505-1160 to join our conversation. We are talking to Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers, third generation here. So a lot's changed in Toms River in 3 generations, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see us heading? What would you, in your perfect world, what do you think would, what could we do to stoke the flames of retail, of commerce, to really take us to the next level? And by the way, this doesn't qualify as your magic wand. I'm just letting you know. So go ahead.
I think any community is best off when they're creating great neighborhoods for families to be in, great schools for them to feel confident that they can raise their families in this town and send them to school and make sure their kids get a great education, and that entrepreneurs feel as though they have an environment where they can take a risk, because that's what business ownership is whether you're starting a restaurant or starting a jewelry store or a radio show, it's all a risk, and you want to be minimize that risk as best as possible by being in an environment that is supportive of businesses. And I think Toms River right now is doing a good job of getting together and putting or at least trying to put action towards getting ourselves together and being more of a destination for entrepreneurs that could open up business here and thrive.
Right. Well, that's. I mean, you're 100% right, and I think. Look, you've talked earlier about the investment in our hospital, which is a big deal. Certainly, I know you having 3 kids. I know we know about education is how important that is to a young family. And of course, having great places to shop and great places to eat. I know you and I have talked about a revitalized downtown area would certainly help everyone in town, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have this waterfront community, and I think you go to others, and whether it's a downtown or right by the water, in other communities we see a string of restaurants, or right. We see these great businesses that are taking advantage of their environment. We have this wonderful environment of Toms River. We all grew up on the water, and we have, we grew up in a place where people would die to go on vacation to
right.
in the summer. And I think our optics could be a little bit better. And if we take that risk, if we create destinations, I really believe in it that we will have the community support. I think a lot of people leave the area, and that's always been something that we fought at Corinne Jewelers was, you don't have to go to New York, you don't have to
right.
go to Philly, you don't have to go to these places. We've brought that here, and we've worked hard year in, year out to make sure that this town has a great jeweler, that they don't need to leave the area. So I'd want to see that across all
absolutely.
things.
I've never talked to you about this, but just out of curiosity, we have a whole, and a lot of people don't even realize this, we have a whole group that comes down here and lives in Ocean County in the summer, mm-hmm. right? And this is a group that has a lot of money, mm-hmm. right, and a lot of resources, and we're talking about like New Yorkers, Wall Street types who come down and love to go boating and love to to be on the river and on the bay, and they're here. Although they mostly are keeping to themselves in their own personal estates, yep. Dotted throughout. Do you ever see those folks in the summer? I mean, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have customers that they have a house over at the beach
right.
for the summer, and from May till September they're bouncing back and forth, and
right.
nobody wants to live up north in the summer. They want to be here, and I think how could we not want to provide the right environment
sure.
that engages with that?
Sure. And then how do we get those folks interested in staying here from September to April, right?
Well, they want to see that it fits their lifestyle.
Yeah.
They want to see that they live in a nice community, and
sure.
Like I said, the schools are good, and
right.
they feel comfortable with their kids, and they want to go out to dinner, and they can go out to dinner.
Yeah.
So I think all those things are an important part about having a place where people look on a map and say, yeah, I want to live there.
Right. And not that they don't love Olive Garden, but maybe they want something else.
Yeah.
So Ryan, while we're on that, while we're kind of reimagining things, while we're kind of like, while we're fantasizing on some weird level, why don't you, it's time for me to give you the magic wand, right? It's the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability just to wiggle your nose and make a change happen. Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers, what are you doing?
If I had to choose one area in town, it'd probably be what I've always talked about with my parents, grandparents, and my wife now is we'd love to, put a wand over downtown and you create this, wonderful walking around on the street at night and going to a restaurant and or maybe seeing a show downtown and you're on the waterfront, and it just seems as though if we were to create that kind of atmosphere, you'd have a destination not just from Toms River, but surrounding areas around Toms River would be wanting to come to that area to enjoy themselves. So that's one area that you just see as this huge opportunity because you have this environment that so many communities don't. That they don't have this waterfront area of their town, and we have so much of it, all the way down to the bridge. I mean, you could pick out a handful of spots and say, "Hey, why isn't it booming here a little bit more? What's the disconnect?" And I think it's going to take some risk. I think it's going to take a few, entrepreneurial spirits to get in there and do it together. But it almost seems like it needs a rush of things, not just one business, but a handful of businesses to really come at it together.
Very cool. Yep. Ryan, why don't you give us the where could folks come to visit you on the internet or in person?
CorinneJewelers.com is the website of Corinne Jewelers, and you can find pretty much everything that we carry in the store. You'll find on our website, along with why to come to Corinne Jewelers and a few things that we do that are special that you won't see other jewelry stores doing. Our physical location is 917 North Main Street, right at the intersection of Main Street and Route 37, where they're currently digging up the road, and there's huge trucks every day, and they're expanding the road. But if you bear with the construction, you could get to us quite easily. Again, my name is Ryan, and it's a pleasure to be in this community and running Corinne Jewelers, and really appreciate you having me on this morning, Jeremy.
And two quick things I want to point out that are really special, and I think you probably wouldn't point them out yourself. Number one, love the fact that you offer a discount for military and for police and fire.
Yep.
I think that's fantastic. And it's not like that's not like some one-time deal like we do it from Tuesday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon. It's like an everyday, right? It's an everyday thing. And the other thing that's so cool is that you have like a bio on everyone on your team on your website.
Yeah.
Which I think, look, at the end of the day, when you walk into Corinne Jewelers, you feel like people really care.
Yeah.
And that starts with the leadership, and it starts with people, employees being valued. And you could see that even on the website. So that's certainly why it's been such a successful business to a large extent. So it's all about the people, right?
It's all about the people. It's probably the most important thing I do is to fill the store with people that care and that are as passionate about customer service that I am. And I'm lucky to have a great group of people that have been with me a long time and that truly care.
Awesome. Ryan Blumenthal, Corinne Jewelers, 917 North Main Street in Toms River, CorinneJewelers.com. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks,
awesome.
Everybody.
Back with more Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin after this.
Rush Limbaugh today at noon. More Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin coming up next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.